Her commitment to her husband was truly astounding. He was healthy and a highly successful country music star when they fell in love. But after she married him, he was incapacitated by a stroke. Life would never be the same. But instead of leaving, instead of giving up, their amazing love story only grew stronger. He is one of the most beloved country music artists of all times, Randy Travis. He has sold over 25 million albums, a member of the Country Music Hall of Fame and the Grand Ole Opry. His honors include 22 #1 hits and 31 top 10 songs, 7 Grammy Awards, 11 Academy Country Music Awards, and the list goes on and on. But his life changed drastically when he encountered a near-fatal stroke in 2013. But with the help of his beautiful wife, Mary, and rigorous physical therapy, Randy continues to change the world with his music and faith. This is their story of unshakable love and faith, forever and ever, amen. This is today's Nashville. This is faith. Randy, Mary, what a blessing to me that I get to sit down and get to share your amazing story of love and faith. I read your book and I couldn't put it down. But you know, before we start and talk about everything, Mary, I wanted you to share one of the challenges that you face as you guys are walking through this journey of faith, and the topic about aphasia. I'm a nurse, I know what it means, but a lot of our viewers, they don't understand it.
Well, the interesting thing is, and I didn't understand it either until we went through it. And when I think back on the last words that we spoke, now I'm going to call the beginning of this, but the last words we spoke was, they were getting ready to do a surgical procedure on him, and I had to step out of the room. They were putting an impella in to help assist the heart since the heart was failing. And the last words that we got to speak was, "Honey, I love you. I'll be right outside." And he said, "I love you too." And I think I treasure those words that we got to speak in our last conversation. That was 8 years ago this month. 8 years. Fast forward, well, not too far forward, but then after the stroke, it was 72 hours after he flatlined, which was during this procedure that they were doing. And he was in a coma, so they had not recognized the stroke. And so it was too late for the stroke prevention medicine and things. So it had done its damage, but you know, sometimes there's so much beauty in the damage. And the aphasia was the biggest aftermath that we had to deal with. I would say even more so than the paralysis on the right side is the aphasia, because it's so misunderstood.
Well, explain it. What is aphasia?
Aphasia is, it's the certain part of the brain that is affected by the stroke. Every stroke is different. Every result is different from a stroke. And so you run into people all the time, and they've had a stroke, and they say, and they can talk, and they just like, well, keep going. You can eventually. We don't know. We don't. Every stroke is different, and every outcome is different. 85% of the world, the population, doesn't know what aphasia is, and it is more prevalent than multiple sclerosis, Parkinson's. There's so many maladies that we are familiar with. But not aphasia, and it's more prominent, and it happens to more people every year than those. So,
and it's really the inability to communicate. You understand everything and know everything, but it's to get your thoughts out.
That's exactly right.
And to express your thoughts, right?
An interruption in the brain, between the brain and the mouth, the motor senses that that allow us to speak and put sentences together. His was the left side cerebral ischemic stroke, and so that's where the speech patterns are for forming sentences. And that's totally different than the memory side, which is on the right side, and that's why he can still mouth every word to every song, because that's memory. That's in the memory bank. So the left side that was affected in that central part is what affects the ability to put together sentences in any more than 3 to 4 words at a time.
Right. So that's why if somebody sees you in an interview and you're talking, that's what's happening. Yeah. It's just the inability to put those thoughts together.
Right. I mean, I would much rather he be telling you these stories.
I know you said beforehand that you were the quiet one, that you were always talking. And, but let's go back a little bit before we talk about your journey as a couple and talk about your success. You are one of the most beloved country music artists of all time. And everyone just loves Randy Travis. And can you share, Mary, some of the memories that you have? Because you have known each other a very long time, you know, when he was rising to stardom. Right. It was a journey. I know that everybody thinks that it's an overnight success.
No,
but it wasn't, was it?
No, he worked hard at it. He fashioned his skill. He knew exactly where he wanted to go with it. I think he said since the age of 9, 10, he knew that he wanted to do traditional country, and he never veered from that. He had a focus, and he and Lib they built a path, you know, that. It was magical, and he had hard times as a youngster.
Oh, I read his book. Kind of a rebel there.
Yeah, he was a rebel, and he had, you know, kind of the beautiful family, and all 6 kids are still with us, and Mom and Dad are both gone. But he had struggles with his dad, and very rebellious, and. But he overcame all that. Yeah, that's the beauty of it. That's the redemption, is to look back and say, that's not where I want to be. That's not the person I want to be. So he is the kindest, sweetest. Every word in his songs are Randy Travis, from the heart.
Do you know which is your favorite song?
Oh, nope.
All you don't know? What's special for you, Mary?
The last one I heard. I love them all.
Do you? Mm-hmm. What was the last song that you heard?
Well, our love song is "Are We in Trouble Now?" Oh. It's a beautiful love song of his. So, and not very well known, but it is absolutely beautiful.
Well, you know, after airing this, everybody's going to be Googling it, you know, finding out what...
It's beautiful.
But your love story started years ago, and you knew each other. And God has taken you through an amazing journey. And share a little bit about that. Just, you know, when you first met, and Mary, did you know right away when?
Well, I knew how fond I was of the person, of the heart. And we had met 30 years ago. I mean, 30 now. It was in 1990. So what is it? 31 years now. And I was working with my brother, who was making shirts, the stub shirts that he wore, and he would pass through town, he and Lib, and so I knew them only from business and social. I mean, we would go to dinner, and so we spent time together, but watching him day in and day out when I was around him was that humility. Here's this monster of a man as far as the country phenomena that I just thought he was a prince of a person. He was so kind to everyone he ever met. He was so gentle and so humble, and there's something you love about that. He treated everyone the same. I wasn't going to not fall in love with him when I had the chance. And that came 20-some years later.